with your heating pad in it?
Sure do.
Right here. Is that too far away? I think I need to like scoot it closer.
Sure, Mr. Mushnik.
Such a good show.
So far away, I feel like we need to be a little closer. Ew, it feels so formal. I kind of hate it.
Take the flowers away. Get
No, I love the flowers.
I love flowers the way Oprah loves bread. Okay, you ready? Do you see how like erect I sit and you're just... it's my habit, it's my nature, it's fine. It's your back, it's fine.
No, I'm ready to like recline this thing.
Do it! You should. Should we recline a little bit? Don't you hit that painting. Don't you
Is
hit
it
it!
moving? Oh, that's why these chairs are stupid.
Well, you can recline a little.
No, because I'm
Recline a little. That's good. Stop. Now lean back. Ah, how comfy. We're going to be talking about our intimate life, and I recorded my perspective and how things were kind of going on my end in part 1. We're on to part 2, and this is like Joel's perspective and how things have been going on his end.
Perspective's a loose word because it makes it sound like it's up to interpretation. There's no interpretation. Like it is firsthand accounts of what has gone on. Like it's not perspective, it is like the reality.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Part 1 was my reality of what's been going. I actually love that. Oh my gosh, Joel. Yes. Part 1 is my reality of how things have been going with our intimate life. This is part 2 of what has gone on with Joel. Take it away.
2023, we were building the house. Building the house was a big undertaking. I knew it was going to be, and I knew it was going to be stressful. I didn't know how stressful it was going to be. And maybe it's just lack of experience, I guess, but...
Well, for sure, because we'd never done it before.
Yeah, so there are a few things that you take into account when you're building a home. When you take out a construction loan for your bank, you have a deadline of when that has to be done. And then there's also a dollar amount that you can't exceed. And when we took our construction loan, I wanted it as small as possible. So we kept the numbers a lot smaller. The bank really didn't like that.
Yeah, they wanted us to take more out just in case, and we were like, no, like this is what we're willing to take out.
Yeah, so that was some of the stress I brought on myself, I guess, but it was for good reason. I didn't want to surpass a certain dollar amount. But then the deadlines that come with it, I thought, oh, we've got like a year and a half, whatever, or I don't know. It was a long time, but that time creeps up on you. And so as fall, it was actually supposed to be June of 2023 came through, we were supposed to be done and closed on the loan.
Wouldn't that have been nice?
Yeah. Anyway, we were nowhere near being ready to be done. The framing, everything, it just took a lot longer than we thought, which the bank kind of knows. So I'm surprised they give those deadlines. Anyway, regardless, they'd given us an extension on the deadline without penalty. Now, if you go over the deadline with penalty, when it comes to a certain point, it is a very large sum of money that will be due up front on the house, and it's a percentage, so it can be 3 or 4% of the house has to be paid right up there, and that's just penalties. Like, there's no value for it other than it's a fine.
Like, it's just astronomical. It would be unrealistic for anyone. And I will insert that I don't care if you're paying for a house in cash. The financial stress of building a home is very large.
Yeah, you just get sick of seeing your debit card get pulled out for everything. You're just like, I can't, this has got to stop. It feels terrible. Even if the money's there, it feels terrible. It's not a comfortable feeling. So we were coming up on those 2 deadlines. We had already been given extensions, but we knew that we weren't going to get another one. We were approaching our dollar amount. Things changed.
Like brands backed out.
Yep. And
a lot of them.
So we had to do a lot of scrambling at the last minute. That's why we installed our deck as a family, because it was just what we had to do to get things done. Cousins had to come help lay tile. It was so grateful for it. Up to us finishing the house, Bonnie and I's intimate life was suffering a little bit because I was getting home super late. And by the time I got home, there was zero energy to do anything. Trying to stand on my feet was just done. I was so tired.
I'm not going to say it was suffering because we were on wonderful terms.
Oh, yeah.
The frequency was like really low. I started my timeline in August 2023, but let's take Joel's back another full year. He had already been working on the house for a full year. And we very much underestimated the physical stress that it would put on Joel. How much weight did you lose?
Yeah, there was 1 month, I knew I couldn't tell Bonnie how much I lost because I knew she was not going to be happy with me. I came home and I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, I look skinny. And it wasn't like, oh, Joel, you look good. It was like, oh, I'm seeing parts of my body I don't usually see. And I got on the scale.
Not that I was controlling about his weight, but I don't
Bonnie
like
was
when
concerned.
you get too
She
skinny.
didn't want me to.
I don't like
she
when
didn't
he
want
gets
my
too
weight to drop because it meant unhealthy things were going on. She knew I wasn't eating enough or wasn't just so much. Anyway, I weighed myself. I was in the 140s, low 140s, and I weighed 160 for 20 years now.
160, 165.
Yeah.
I love you at that weight because he's strong, he's healthy. Anyway, so the physical toll for a prior whole year, okay? And then the financial toll that we were just talking about.
The house deadlines were coming on.
Deadlines. And then we had that huge family, absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
And so there's your emotional.
And I honestly felt like we were getting through things. It was just like, okay, yeah, but we
barely.
Oh, in the meantime, my shop was another stress.
There are things that we have not talked about that were, like lawsuits that were behind the scenes, HOA stuff.
But regardless, all that stuff the entire time was just spiking our stress levels. And then I thought when we got into the house, got the shop done, I thought we'd go to Florida the first time. I thought we're gonna just relax and things are gonna feel so good.
We're gonna recoup and get better.
Yep, I thought I need a couple months to sleep in and I will feel so much better. And it was just like, no matter what I did, I was not gaining energy. I wasn't recouping my stamina. I just couldn't get out of bed in the mornings. But then you'd be sad because you didn't get up because you're like, well, I'm missing it, but I physically can't get my eyes open any earlier than I already am. And we were going to bed at decent times too. That kind of started setting the tone for something's going on here.
I feel like when we came home from Florida the first year, we both were kind of scraping by. You were super supportive of me and my physical issues. And then my physical issues lightened up. And that's when we started noticing that there's something not quite right with Joel.
Yeah.
And we started, I started asking, hey, I'm kind of feeling better, but you're not interested in being intimate with me. What's wrong? Because that hurt me. I kind of felt like it was me. Oh, he's not attracted to me. He's not wanting to be with me. And I'm finally feeling better. And I didn't take that into account the first year. I forgot that while you were building the house, we were not super intimate.
No.
So it had been 2 years at this point. We're at the 2-year mark for our intimate life. The 1-year mark for me being out of whack. And that's when we started noticing.
That's when I started being able to pay attention to myself and be like, oh, well, I don't have a lot of desire right now. And it was not any oh, I'm not attracted. It was I've never been more attracted to my wife. I would just look at her with just the most fondness. But it was just well, this isn't working. We're just not.
So physically, Joel was noticing that he was not working at all.
It was slowly.
Yeah, slowly. It was
This takes a little more work than it used to.
Yeah, we were being intimate, but nothing was happening. And that freaked me out. That hurt me in my mind. I just felt oh, shoot. And that, what?
Well, yeah, the whole time I thought, is this what your 40s are going to look like? Is this what our 40s are supposed to look like? Keep going back and forth in your head. You're well, is this normal? Is this age appropriate? you know what I mean? You're trying to justify like, well, we're not in our 20s anymore and whatever, but you're just like, but I feel good, I guess, but I don't feel good.
And at this point, I was starting to climb out of my depression. And it was weird
that
because
was difficult, because I would see Bonnie, she was like, last summer when we got home from Florida, I had set a goal, like I'm gonna get up and go running with my friend again. We're just gonna get back to our workout routine. We kind of put that off while we were building the house, and I just never could get out of bed. It just was so difficult to get out of bed. Meanwhile, Bonnie's like up at the crack of dawn, 4 loads of laundry done, the kitchen's spick and span, breakfast is made. And I'm just like, how are you physically doing this? Like, so I was seeing that Bonnie was moving in such a good direction. I could see a weight was being lifted off of her.
And for the first time ever in my existence of knowing Joel, he was not getting up in the mornings. He was not making plans to progress in what we're doing. We always have projects. We always have things that are needing to get done, and he wasn't doing them. And I was getting frustrated because I'm like, and I feel bad because in the moment, I don't think I realized that you were depressed. And so I wasn't being super sympathetic, because for me, I was like, oh, we are coming out of this depression, but there was no we, it was me. And Joel was in a bad way. I've never seen Joel like that. That was hard, actually, to see you like that. But I was worried because I thought, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't care about our intimate life. He doesn't care about the yard. He doesn't care about projects. Like, that was hard.
Yeah,
that was hard.
That felt weird, where it just felt like any project, it just felt too daunting. It was just like, this is too much, I can't.
Yeah,
so
he
I didn't
wouldn't
even
even
want to
talk
start
about it.
one. And he didn't want to talk about it.
He wouldn't even talk about it because that was too daunting for him.
Just talking about the project was like, I can't mentally do this.
It got worse. So it got worse, and Joel physically, like, nothing. There was no response.
Flaccid's not even a right word. Like, feel just.
Fast forward to the next year, got home from Florida in.
Well, we were in Florida when it was like the most prominent, and we were just like, something has to be done. So I started immediately calling doctors, and I don't think it's necessarily doctor's fault, but the first thing they say is, well, we can get you pills for that. And you're just like, what?
The first thing they offered Joel was the blue pill. And I was so proud of you. Joel said, absolutely not. There is a underlying reason, and we need to get to it. And then what? They started testing your hormones, right?
Yeah, they started testing things and doing blood work, just doing the usual stuff. And what's crazy is those numbers come back and they're like, you're fine, you're healthy. You're like, what? I don't know what you're complaining about. I'm like,
So they tested his testosterone and it came back normal. But then they did a secondary testosterone level. So the first level that came back means that his body is producing testosterone the way it's supposed to and the amount that it's supposed to.
And my number's actually really good, like high.
And that was, Joel cried when his testosterone came back normal, because he just knew. He's just like, I think my testosterone is low. And like, his muscle was, he was getting skinnier. His shoulders were more slender than I've ever seen them. And then when they tested the secondary testosterone level, which is the way your body absorbs.
You're available, like how much your body's actually utilizing of what you're
that
creating.
was really low.
That number is like didn't exist.
Which was sad, but very exciting because you couldn't fix it.
Another kind of contributor that was really an underlying depression was my body. My body was not keeping up with what I knew it could be capable of. And if I did a project, I knew my back was going to be just kind of done for. And I know we're counting days on my back as is, but it was like the reality of that being done was that was brutal. And that took a lot of wind right out of myself, because I've always been physically capable of anything. Like if if there's a physical task to do, I can do it. And to have limitations on that, that just felt just brutal. All of those aspects contributed to an overall depressive state that I didn't realize I was in until I think last summer. I kind of realized I was like, I'm not doing well.
And I think what was also super difficult that we really haven't talked about was for both of us, and I think something that weighed really heavy on us was our family relationships have really suffered, and that has been very difficult for both of us. I will say there has been a lot of improvements.
Oh my gosh, we are night and day different places now.
Night and day difference, but there's still work to be done.
And there's always work to be done.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you've got a perfect family, there's work to be done on relationships, but it doesn't feel as completely desolate like it did before.
Yeah, because I think like when we would go to bed at night, that's what we would cry about. That's what we would be sad about. So that was really, really hard for both of us for a while. I do feel like that has started to improve. That has been getting better, and that has helped us get better. Don't you think?
Oh yeah.
So at this point, we both know that both of our testosterone is low. My estrogen is low. So now we know, I think, what the issue is.
What we believe are the issues.
And I cannot wait for the next video where we talk about where we've gone from there. One thing that I've really appreciated over this whole course of everything is that me and you have stayed so strong together. Like am I your rock?
Oh, yeah.
You're my rock.
We might be soft rocks, but
I'm your lump of clay.
Squishy rocks. We're not really solid in ourselves anymore, but
you're my silly putty.
that's right. No other silly putty.
We have always gone to bed very lovey. We've never cuddled so much. We've never loved each other so much. We've also never cried so much and had such a lack of intimacy. That has been so sad.
That's the weird part. It's usually like you have a...
It's always been our reset.
Yeah, it is. It is a good reset. But like when you're feeling vulnerable, when you're feeling sad, and usually you'll chat with your spouse and you'll have a little conversation, maybe a little cry, but after that, usually you're like, well, it like usually leads to something, and that's always fun.
And it hasn't.
And it hasn't, and that's been so sad.
We just knew that this is bad that neither one of us have been caring about it, because we would just not talk about it. We just wouldn't do it. We just wouldn't make it an issue until this last little while. And then it's like, oh,
we gotta fix something.
We gotta fix something here.
Don't forfeit good times to think, well, we're just gonna get through this, because if we wouldn't have started addressing this, we would be in the exact same situation.
And nothing would be getting better.
And it would be another year. And I know people, knowing what we know now, I know people that have been dealing with similar issues, whether it's depression, whether it is ED, who knows what it is, that they just say, well, this is what life is now. And that's not fair to yourself. So don't forego your own care. You know, this is when people say you got to do self-care. This is the self-care they're talking about. Self-care
is going to the doctor and getting help.
It's getting help for yourself and for your family, for your significant other. Your self-care is not just for you. It's for everybody. It benefits everybody. You are entitled to find joy in this life, and you need to do what it takes to find it, you know?
I'm sure that we have left things out. If you guys have questions, we're happy to answer them. So let us know, and stay tuned for Friday's video, because we're going to tell you what we've been doing. Okay, bye.